Hey guys, I would like you to complete workbook pages 13 and 14. Please watch this video and answer the questions on page 13 and 14 of your Algebra Nation workbook with a pencil. But before we start, a little shout out to Gatorland. I guess the state of Florida has a football team in Gainesville after all. But unfortunately for those Gator fans, that win is going to be very costly as you lost your starting quarterback for the season. Ouch!
Venn diagrams, part 1 of 2. So in this first part, we're going to go ahead and put stuff into a Venn diagram. But what is a Venn diagram, right? A Venn diagram is a graphical display of sets. So we're still dealing with sets here, but now we're going to look at a visual here overall as the idea. We have set A, set B, and we have two circles. The idea behind this is we want to see what's in common first to see what's going to go in the middle. And remember, what's in common will be the intersection. So let's go ahead and look at these and see basically in this kind of picture what's in common between these two circles. You should notice the letter E is in common. With the letter E in common, that's going to be the intersection of these two sets. Once again, we see E is in common, and that goes in the middle. That's the intersection. And then we write what's left over. In set A by itself, we have G, J, and M. And set B by itself is C and N. That's an example of two circles, C, D, and E. What do all three of these sets have in common, if anything? Doesn't have to, but it can. If you look, it's got the number 3 in common with all three sets. Then from here, you look and see what's left over between two sets. So we're basically going 3 in common, 2 C and D. I see I have the number 1. So that's also in common. Notice I said also, because actually, the intersection of C and D are both of these numbers. D and E. Is there any D and E? Total for D and E, the intersection, what's in common would be 3 and 10. Then we look at C and E. C and E, I see the number 5, and only the number 5 is in common, along with 3. Lastly, we go ahead and write what is left. With set C, we have by itself the numbers 2 and 4. With set D, I have the number 7. Look at the total circle C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the set of C. For set D, 1, 3, 7, 10 is the total set D, which you could look at again. And set E, 3, 5, 9, 10 is the set E. So if you're ready, here's another variation. It's going to beat this test. Of 140 students, 60 take Spanish, 30 take French, and 10 are taking both. Before you answer the question, we need to fill this in. What's in common? How many are taking both? Well, 10 are taking both, Spanish and French. 30 are taking French. Now here's the trick, okay? This question is not saying that you put 30 right here. Be very careful. It's not saying that 60 goes right here. 30 total are taking French, 60 total are taking Spanish. Very interesting way to go ahead and display this, but that's how it's going to be worded, so you have to be really ready for this question. If 30 total are taking French, you would subtract 10 from there, and you would get 20 are just taking French. You would subtract 10 from here, and 50 are just taking Spanish. But if you go ahead and look at the whole circle, 50 plus 10 will give you the 60, and 20 plus 10 would give you the 30 taking French. There's one more. There's this 140 total. So 140 students total is what we're sampling here. So with that, you have to figure out how many are not taking Spanish or French. Because actually, that's the question on the very bottom. How many students are not enrolled in a language class? So now you have to total up all three of these. 50, 10, and 20. And that tells you a total of 80 students are taking a language. So you take that number, which is the total of everything in these circles, and subtract it from 140, and you will see the answer is going to be 60. In this case, answer choice D. So again, make sure you're able to see a Venn diagram to put things in, whether it's letters, numbers, or totals, and you have to take away as you go from the center outward.
We do have one more video, but before you do the next video, please take a brain break and enjoy the show. That would be cub-like.